Now it's time to go back into the DCEU. For part 9, we're back after a couple of weeks. We watched Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn before I went on vacation. And now we have watched Wonder Woman 1984. I got my 4K copy right here. Had a great time. I'm going to let you go first on this one, dear. What are your thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984?
Well,
I look it up.
I watched it again. I didn't think it was as bad as I had remembered it. But there's many flaws in it.
You enjoyed it more on the second viewing?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. It currently has a 58% rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes. However, that means 58% of the critics said something nice about it. They didn't say it was great, but that they liked it more than they did. 73% of the audience enjoyed. So that's 2/3.
I think it wasn't trying to pull off as much as it did in the first one, and that was a really big problem with the first one.
Talking about the origin story?
No, not the origin. The origin was the only good thing about the first one. The whole First World War story part of it was just ridiculous. In that first one, it was so small and tiny. That was what was so ridiculous about it.
Mm-hmm.
This one, at least, it was biting off
a
proper amount. Yes. But I think if they would have tweaked it just a little bit more, it could have been a lot better. And that was the problem. The whole thing with Kristen Wiig is mainly the problem with this movie. Of course, we have Gal Gadot, who can't really act as Wonder Woman. Of course, that's always a problem.
You just don't like her.
No, I don't. But the Kristen Wiig thing was just stupid.
Okay.
And it wasn't done right.
Let's try and be positive.
I am being. I'm telling you, I liked it better on the second viewing. I'm talking about it. And they got the 80s wrong, which was really foolish because a lot of us have been through the 80s and they got the year wrong. I mean, I was like 10 in 84 and I could tell, like, they got it wrong. They got it mixed in with the 90s and stuff. So I don't know what that was all about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was a proper amount to chew off. It made sense that she found this thing in the museum and and she wished for Steve Trevor to come back. That's all good. But I think they just dropped some things. Like they dropped Steve Trevor real fast like a hot potato. And then the ending was so sappy. And the whole thing with Kristen Wiig, that she didn't have confidence to wear high heels, it made no sense. She was dressed like girls when I was in high school, so the year was wrong. But she wasn't like a nerd or something. And she's supposed to be this person that's supposed to be studying archaeology. And she says to Diana, "You know Latin?" Like, that is just lame. Like, everybody there would know Latin, plus another whole bunch of language. It's just, the thing about Kristen Wiig ruins the movie. And then they turn into some weird kind of cheetah woman. That is just ridiculous. So if they would have just cut that out, it would have been a lot better film. And that was unfortunate. Whatever they were trying to do there was just sideways. But, anyway, I think they could have just fixed it up and it would have been a lot better movie. Personally.
What did you enjoy about it?
Well, the story did make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sad. It shows how Diana is so sad and stuff. But, I don't know. They just didn't do it the greatest. But, it was a much better story and a much better something that you could chew off easily and deal with, right? Just this one crazy guy.
Okay. So I found this to be a fun, wacky comic book superhero movie. Kind of ridiculous, but I expected that to be for kids. Anyway, is that all your thoughts on it, or did you want to say?
I just think it was too bad. It was another not hitting the mark from DC.
So it was a bit off.
Yeah, a bit off.
Okay, my overall impression of this film is this was a bad movie, but I had fun with it. Just like a lot of other DC movies. I'm like, this isn't good, but I'm having fun.
Missing it.
So here's what I enjoyed, as opposed to Christine talking about what she doesn't enjoy. So Kristen Wiig is not given a lot to do in this. She looks amazing in this, and she's giving it her all with the very limited stuff she's given. She's acting the hell out of it. Poor writing for her.
Yeah,
and
that's really what knocked the movie down.
I love her, and she does as good a job as she can do. Okay, so no fault to her at all. Gal Gadot, she embodies Wonder Woman. Okay, the costume is very bright. It looks brighter than it definitely did back in BVS. And
gold in one of them.
She wears the golden armor
because her butt isn't sticking out.
So we get the golden armor, and finally she gets, sort of pants. I think it's like tights and long boots.
Yeah.
But she's not walking around that skimpy skirt there. So Wonder Woman finally got pants. That's cool. And it was a nice shiny gold outfit. Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, he is great. He is such a way over the top, wacky, cartoonish supervillain, and you can tell he's having a great time. He's chewing all the scenery on set. And I get swept up watching him because he's having such a fun time, and I start having a fun time. I love it. Yeah, I didn't really.
They should have edited the part where he's talking to the world. They should have cut out half of that. It was just so much, back and forth. It was just.
Anyway, let me continue with my review, please. So, I loved all that stuff. What really makes this movie for me is Chris Pine. Now, it was weird him coming back, and I don't know anything about movie making, and I'm nobody on the internet, but my advice would have been, if she wishes for him to come back, don't have him come back as some other dude's body, right?
It was weird.
That's weird because, she's sleeping with him. So good on this random dude in the 80s who looks like Bill Paxton and dresses like a pirate. He gets to sleep with Wonder Woman, so good on him, buddy. And Chris Pine is back in this, and he's acting as if he's your great-grandfather who's just come back from 1918. That's when he died, and now he's in 1984, in the futuristic world of 1984. And I love that because to us, 1984 is in the past. We're like, things weren't that great. There was no internet. There was no cell phones, smartphones, nothing.
84 was great. 85 was prime.
But to him, this is science fiction world that he's living in. And he freaks out over the breakdancing, all the art sculptures, the trash can, and going down the escalator.
Yes.
That's exactly how someone from 1918 would act, I think. Going on an escalator. Oh my God, he's freaking out at first. And then he's loving it and he's walking up and down the escalator. And meanwhile, we're just like, buddy, what's he doing? Like, this is a normal thing we've had for decades. I love his performance.
I like that too. He would never be able to fly an F-16 or whatever
the fashion montage and the fanny packs with all his outfits. He has more than one fanny pack. That was hilarious.
Fanny pack. Nobody can. I mean...
I would argue no one can except Chris Pine.
I don't think he doesn't pull it off.
He is such a beautiful person that he can pull it off.
You have to wear it across the chest. That's better.
Still a fanny pack, and good on Chris Pine for pulling off those looks there. So good on him. Some of the stuff in it was a bit over the top, like the random drunken guys that are just being jerks to women.
Did you find they just dropped Chris Pine like that, like a stone? Like it wasn't like a proper lead up or whatever. She just left him behind in some building.
Yeah, she had to give up.
Yeah, but
she had to renounce her wish.
I don't know. It was strange the way that they handled it.
The CGI fight with Cheetah, not very good.
I didn't like the look of Cheetah.
Yeah, and it was too dark as always. Yeah. However, I do like that they did Cheetah, and I like that they did Maxwell Lord, and...
He was much more believable, though. So,
I had a fun time with this bad movie, and not one of my favorite DCEU movies. Afterwards, we're gonna talk about where we'll put it in our ranking. I gotta think about that one. Tricky. What rating would you give this movie?
I liked it better than the first one. I don't know. I might give it like a 70.
A 70? Yeah. Okay.
I'll give it a 70.
Even though it was a bad movie, like other DC movies, I'm going to give this a best movie ever because I had fun with it.
I think they could have just fixed a couple of things and it would have been really good.
maybe another pass at the script and
Yeah,
everything.
It's just like off a bit.
It did make a lot of money because it was released in December of 2020. So that was still very much the pandemic going on. And it was released day and date on HBO Max. But also theaters weren't really open in December of
I
2020.
don't think ours was.
So, yeah, that was bad circumstance. How I think it would have done all right if it had been open in the theaters, considering the success of the first one.
I guess.
So
I don't know how much money they put into it because like their 80s was wrong.
I enjoyed their 80s.
Well, you weren't around as a teenager or as a like I was like 10, but I certainly remember it. Like Stranger Things in the 80s a lot better. They're just things that were off.
According to bombreport.com,
Yeah.
it had a $200 million budget. That's a lot of money for this movie.
It's a lot, and they couldn't get 1984 right. The mall itself looked right, but the clothes were a bit off and stuff.
I realize anytime they do period pieces, it always can be a little bit off, but the 80s world they created, it was fun, it was bright and colorful and very clean for some reason.
It wasn't really on the mark, though.
For you, it wasn't on the mark.
I was alive, like, and not 2 years old.
For you, it wasn't on the mark, but for me, it's just like watching the Goldbergs. It's kind of an idealized 80s. It's not exactly exact in terms of what was out at the time. Things might be a little bit off, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. I like that look. You didn't enjoy it so much, so I gave it a best movie ever. Now, what does everyone else think of Wonder Woman 1984? You gave it a 70%, so I'm guessing this might be somewhere in the middle of your DCEU rankings.
Rank them all because they keep on just missing the mark. Like Harley Quinn missed the mark. You know? I don't know. Did I like?
Did you enjoy this one more than Birds of Prey?
I think I enjoyed Birds of Prey more.
Okay. You had some problems with it, with the sexism and that. But anyway, I had fun with this. I'm glad you had some fun with it. And then we're going to...
sexism in this one as much. I didn't mind.
Next week, we're going to move on to part 10 of Into the DCEU.
Okay.
What movie came out? Give you a hint. It's the only DCEU movie that came out in 2021. So the pandemic was still very much going on. Problems with theaters. What movie do you think came out next after this one?
We're going to have one left. James Gunn, The Suicide Squad.
That is the next one. And spoilers, it's a good one.
It's a good one.
we got that. We got James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Then we got Peacemaker we're going to watch.
Yeah, I never saw Peacemaker.
Then Black Adam.
Right, which we recently saw.
Then Shazam 2.
Yeah, which we just
And
saw.
now The Flash, that's out this weekend. So we got 5 more properties to go.
Are we going to go see The Flash today?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
So let us know your thoughts on Wonder Woman 84. Do you think it was good? Do you think it would have made a lot of money at the box office? Are you a big fan of Wonder Woman or not? Let us know down in the comments below. And that's part 9 of Into the DCEU.